Thank you for speaking to us here at CGTN Africa. First and foremost, why Kenya? Why did you take this all-important coaching job here in Kenya?
Thank you for having me, Richard. Pleasure to be here. I thought it was a great opportunity. It's a prosperous country. They're very ambitious. New federation that came into power. So I think the project that they sold me was that they want to build a team from now up until 2027 when they host the African Nations Cup. So then they want to be able to compete and have a strong foothold in African football. So yeah, I thought the opportunity and the foundation of football players that they had was really good, and that me and myself and my team, we could make a change and we could get the team ready for 2027 when they are hosting the African Nations Cup, and we could have a strong say in how the tournament unfolds and how far we can take Kenya, that where they've never been before, and that looked a decent project to want to attach myself and my team with, and that's why Kenya.
So you spoke of change and the prospects for Kenya. Now, you've coached and played in Europe and in South Africa. What have you noticed in Kenya when it comes to, number one, talent, and most importantly, the investment in the game of football in Kenya? Can you give us some striking contrast that we should know about?
Yeah, he's quite a lot of raw talent. Grassroots football is not that big yet, where I think that's where you go and find these talents, and then you put them, the investment side of things and football in Kenya. Like I said, but it's a new government and they're trying to change the whole structure and how things work in Kenyan football. So they're starting with grassroots football. So hopefully they can get the grassroots football up and running, so that there can be more talent coming from schools, people coming from the rural areas, also getting opportunities to play football, so that there can be a pathway for them to get to the level where we are now, where we're coaching, and that is at national level.
Benni, let's talk about the subject of talent, and I want to give you your flowers now that you're in front of me. You have swagger, you have confidence, and you struck terror and fear in the hearts of the opponent, including myself when I was rooting against Bafana Bafana. So, Benni, what does it take for Kenyans to play at your level? And how do you plan to inject your DNA into the Kenyan national squad? And will that be enough to qualify for the World Cup?
Yeah, interesting. I think the World Cup will be very difficult for us. World Cup 2027 in the United States, and Canada and Mexico. For us to qualify, very difficult, because the point gap between the first and fourth, where we are, Ivory Coast is top of our group, and they had a head start over us. Like myself and my team, we came in, and we straight away, we had 2 matches, we drew 1 and we lost 1, unfortunately, to the second team in our group. So now that kind of sets us back a little bit, but we tried our absolute best to try and give the country something to celebrate, and unfortunately losing to Gabon kind of sets us back massively. But I like to say a team should be the reflection of the managers, the coaches. And if the coach lives by this code, then that's the kind of way you work, and you work your team. So that's the goal. So everybody else that's in our team, in our camp, they know that's how we are. We have an arrogance about us, but we also still very humble and respectful. But when it comes down to us or you winning the game, then it has to be us, because we just have that aggression, that bit of extra about us that we want to win. So we try and install that into Kenyan and Kenyan football.